Hi everyone, welcome back. Come on now, it's that time of the day. It's always time for your best you. Pull up a chair, get your beverage of choice, and come on in and join us. I'm Reverend Dr. Kathleen Fennedy.
And I'm Joan Kaczmarzyk. Welcome. Come on in and join us.
Yes.
What are we going to be talking about today, Kathleen?
What are we going to be talking about
We're
today?
going to be, this one is Chakra 6.
Correct.
So we're talking about the third eye.
Right. That is called the eye of God. That is the inner eye. It is located in the pineal gland area. We've talked about this in the past. And this can get a little woo-woo-y for some. So, but there's more and more of the evidence coming out about the glands and their relationship to our evolution, and so it's not so woo-woo-y anymore. But it is that place where we want to focus on the inner sense.
Your inner spirituality.
The eye of God.
So yes. Or your connection with.
Well, if you have a divine wisdom, it is much different than a book wisdom.
That's true.
And if you speak to prophets of the times, people will say, well, how did you know that? Well, because there are others, like me, who do spend quite a bit of time in what's considered conversations with God, or conversations with Goddess. Matter of fact, there was a book once written, and I remember reading it quite some long time ago. I think I was at Princeton at the time. And it was called Conversations with God. And it was a very popular book, like bestseller, New York Times, We have little smidgets of time that come up and they say to us, yeah, hey, we had this near-death experience, and then that gets shut down. And then we get pulled into another area, and then something happens, which then opens up the box again of this inner knowing part of our beinghood, and we go, oh yeah, I remember. Some surgeon in New Haven wrote a book because he had a near-death experience, and he'd seen so many of them, he never believed it, but then he had it,
Yeah. So
he wrote a book, and it was a popular book because
Sure.
he was a surgeon in New Haven.
Right.
So,
So
he had a backing, and everybody
so
got his book out,
Sure. And so because of his, shall we say, his status?
Not shall we say, because of his status.
It wasn't like, oh, this is woo-woo stuff. This must be, that because he's a doctor, this must be real.
Scientific.
Well,
real. Yeah, so anyway, we have so much that's available to us, but so much gets silenced. And again, I think that has to do with that fifth chakra, as I've said before, in the previous show that I just did.
Yes.
So you can go back if you haven't seen that and check that out on Nutmeg TV, YouTube videos on demand. And you go to the playlist, and you have to go far down because I started with Nutmeg TV a while ago, so I'm way down the list. But I have a lot of episodes. Joan's been in many of them of recent. So, but yeah, the fifth chakra is been affected across the board, and so therefore all the other chakras have been affected, and I would venture to say that people may even find it really challenging right now to even consider meditating, because there's so much pent up in, and there are so many ways to get a meditation in where you're not sitting in that own place of the inner knowing, and there have been books written about that as well, and everything can be turned into a meditation, and a book's been written about that as well, So you got to find your own kind of beat, your own kind of space. You got to find your own Goldilocks. You got to find your own place. I've said this, like, and then you got to keep readjusting it because feet can get old. You can get tired. Go, geez, I could really use a new chair. My back's starting to hurt in this chair. I need a new chair. I gotta get a different kind of seat. I know I'm gonna start something different, and that's what I've said. 2022, new year, new you. All this stuff that's going on is going to keep going on. And one of the things I think that I believe in really fundamentally, base chakra, is that recognizing the things that we can change versus the stuff we can't change. Because
just like that old saying.
What?
About Lord grant me the.
Oh, that's the serenity prayer.
The serenity prayer.
Yeah.
But it plays into that.
Yeah.
Because there are some things we can change. There's some things that we can't change.
And have peace with what you can't change, because the frustration I think many of us, I'm going to always include myself in it, I'm a human, are experiencing is that we can't change it.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can change it, and we're told, oh, you can. One person can change. Not really. Not until the cultural is open to receiving it. I've used that
many times.
I've talked about this before. A person can come in and be a change agent and a catalyst, and they could get killed. We don't want to hear that. Another person can come in a few years later, say the same
message,
thing, and they'll be, the star of the show.
Right.
So it really does have to do with the powers that be and what they're orchestrating that they want out. And now they've accepted the organics, except they're giving it to you, and organic tricks are for kids, and it's not. I don't know what it is, guys. There's a noggin up here. I think everybody got one attached, right? Use it. Think on it for a minute, and then I'll hear some people say, well, I don't really care what's in the food. I don't ask what's in McDonald's. Well, you see that? Well, I do. So, you may be one of the humans. It's just like, I don't care. I just go through life with it, not really examining or, then that's your journey. So then we have to be able to be open to one another's journeys. And I think that's where we are at 6. You have the sense of a kind of a more God knowledge, and you're more willing to be open and tolerant of the differences amongst us humans.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and the beauty of that difference.
Yeah.
We don't want to become so, orchestrated as
so
a culture that we're
we're
living like we're all in the same clothes, walking the same walk, talking the same talk. Or, part of a North Korea or some kind of weird, rule that, and by then it's gotten so out of control as the civilization, and the people who are the ones who are really the ones who are supposed to be in control, who are the ones supposed to be making the decisions. But once something gets so big and out of control, man, try to rein that back.
Oh, yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah, it does get out of control, and it's
so,
not that's one of those things that you probably can't change. It would take such a huge...
Well, but it's taken a long time to get there, and I think that's why I'm saying to us as a culture, to the young people, to those who are willing and have that will well of courage to be able to stand up and claim their life back.
They need to do it.
And to be able to do it without feeling like you're being condemned or alienated.
Yeah.
Everyone has a right, and yes, for a certain time, we certainly wanted as a culture to take a look at something, but boy, did that get out of control.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
Okay. So, anyway, on the note of being clear-minded and being able to control what you can control and be able to let go of what you can't control, that is a lot to do with how you're going to go to bed at night. And when you can lay down with yourself and kind of be grateful, and you're like having your conversation with God.
Yeah.
Thank you, for life, and and that I can go to bed with a restful mind.
Right.
That I haven't,
You could
done
touch-
nefarious activities or
Right. You can
anything
touch it.
that I could feel like, and if I've done something that I don't feel good about, I got to forgive myself for whatever that is.
Right.
And those are all elements of that chakra 6. And so most people don't generally spend a lot of time there.
You're probably, yeah, you're right. You're right on that. A lot of people don't.
Going and sitting in a yoga class and sitting for 5 minutes and doing it is not really chakra 6 work. When you want to bring it down to earth and be applying it into your daily life and how aware of that. And that's chakra 6. The eye of God. That's the all-seeing eye. The eye of God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. The eye of God.
Misses nothing.
The eye of God.
Misses nothing.
So, I have my little watch on that.
Mm-hmm.
I can only see, I didn't bring the phone in for the checking of the time today. I can only see the hands in a certain way, and I have to put my glasses on. So, okay, Crystal,
So
that's enough.
You gotta help her with the crystals over here.
Yes, well, what I've done is I've brought in a crystal bowl because I'm hoping that I can get it on the camera. There we go. I brought in a crystal bowl because in this crystal bowl I have many of my little pieces, my primary pieces, and we have a full moon coming. So it's a full moon in Cancer, and I like to bathe my crystals in water that's been prayed over. This is not tap water. And then that goes out to be under in a window on the back porch here where I have the moon come in and it shines and they get a moon bath. So that is a practice. Want to help me, Crystal? See what I'm going to do? We might get a little husky look in the water.
We did.
Because she likes it when the water's all nice. That should be enough for now, right, Crystal?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Hey, crap.
I think Crystal's going to do my whole
Okay, so.
You didn't need that now. So then what I do is I take this, and of course I make sure everything's safe down. And then I will put it outside on the back porch, as I said. And the moonbeam comes into it. And then that way I
Re-energizes them.
I get them cleansed.
Yeah.
And depending upon the state of them and what I used them for, I sometimes will pour the water on a plant. But because I've been using it as a bath, now if I want a separate bowl that's just been cleansed water to use for holy water,
Moon water. Yeah.
I wouldn't put the crystals in it.
Right.
Not until they were cleansed.
Right.
If you put a cleansed crystal in it, then that would be fine.
But otherwise,
yeah,
you
I
can
would
just
not
take
use
you can just take a bottle of water
that. Right.
and put it out there
Right.
and let it become
Right.
moon water.
Right. I'm standing up because I'm going to walk past Crystal right up to the camera with Ruby and put my hand right up there. See him? Ruby. Okay, well, we got a little peek of him. All right, and I guess we're coming up to the end of the show. I don't think I have much longer, although, I didn't do the clock, so.
Weren't you going to show a mudra?
Oh, yeah, I was going to show that mudra. Because we're water. And our whole being, body is pretty much water. Where'd your foot go? Keep it in there. Our whole body is pretty much water. So there's a mudra, and you know those are with the hands. So you always know the prayer mudra. That's such a common mudra.
Yeah.
This is such a common mudra. And then there's a lotus mudra. Everything's open, lifted up. But all of the mudras that are related to your hands, and maybe that's why I put my hand up there. I don't know what was about. But it has to do with our hands. And our hands, have all the lines on them that are attached to the body centers of energy as the feet and the organs. But when we bring our hands into activity, it affects our inner being. So I showed you this mudra the other day because it's for balancing the water. And you take your thumb and your pinky and you put them together. Again, I've got the husky and the chi. But you see? And then the thumb and the pinky together. The 3 fingers, mine are writer's hand, you can see. Just relax. So it doesn't matter how cramped your fingers may be. Just relax them. Okay? Yeah. And then you hold that. You hold those 2 together.
And this is not with pressure. This is just let them touch.
Just let them touch.
There's no pressure.
Now in the beginning, when you first feel it, it probably feels like this isn't going to be comfortable. But you can just let it rest on your side and your lap. And this would be a holding posture to do an affirmation. Okay? Any type of meditative affirmation, which is, allowing the body of the water to flow through me with ease, okay, and health, that my water is purified and clean within my body, right? So it's a way that we can get in touch with the flow of the water in our body, and this helps it.
And what you will feel after you've been doing this for even a couple of minutes is you're going to feel a certain energy flowing between your fingers. And it's a very, very lovely feeling. But it's definitely, it's an energy, it's
a 15-minute hold on the posture. You hold it for 15 minutes. You can close your eyes. You can put on a YouTube video with the sound of the ocean waves. You can put a spring water sound on. Any of those sounds and balancing the fluids within our body. Okay. And you may find that when you're doing it, it certainly gets to the point where you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? This kind of feels like kind of good. I don't want to undo my fingers.
Yeah, like I said, after only a couple of minutes, there's a certain feeling that you get. There's an energy that goes through that you're going to feel between the fingers that you don't normally feel in your hands when they're not touching like this.
Exactly. And another thing that you can do, let us release. Another thing that we can do with your hands, if they don't feel as if you can sense energy, rub them together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Rub them and you rub them and you rub them. And then when you notice, when you take them apart, that you can actually feel space in between your hands. And that's that ball of energy that is, it crafted by magicians.
And it really does.
The magi energy.
It does happen.
And you can lay hands on your body with that energy. And there's enough literature out there to reinforce what I'm saying, that as we lay hands on ourselves with healing love and light, that helps the body to heal. Now, it's not the same as getting a shot of steroid medicine.
Right.
It's not going to work the same way.
No.
So it's about kind of, hey, who are you? What do you want to do down here on planet Earth? You know, who do you want to be?
Right.
What do you want to do? And it's like, well, I'm doing something I didn't necessarily want to be doing, but because of the circumstances, I'm now adapting because I am a human, and adaptation is the key to survival. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Blah, 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 right?
Right.
But, you know,
but then again,
own it.
Right, own it. But then also, like we've just done, take a moment to reconnect. Reconnect with yourself. Reconnect with God, Goddess, Source, whatever way you want.
Well, what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, you're telling me. You know, I spend.
I know you do.
Are you telling them?
I'm telling them because I do it too. I do it on the way to work.
What do you do?
A lot of times I have the Pandora music on. That is the chants.
Okay,
and
so Joan will listen to the chants.
I will listen to the chants, and I'll actually sing along with them.
So you do some chanting.
Yes, I do.
So as I'm saying, when you do any of that, you know, but you want to make sure you're building your foundation up from one.
Yep.
And anytime one feels weak, what are you going to do for one when it feels weak?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. That was your foundation. That was.
Well, if you don't know what you're going to do with your foundation week, I can't help you. No. Jeez. But really, you know.
Yeah.
You haven't answered the question yet.
I know. I'm not. You're putting me on the spot.
Well, you know what I would do if anybody asked me, I'd say the first thing I'd do is go find some good red beets. And I would boil me some beets and eat some beets because it's a red food and it's associated. The next thing I would do would make sure that I was grounding. If I could in any way, I'd get my socks off, my shoes off, and get them on some earth. If I couldn't get them into some earth, I'd get them into some salt water. I'd do something to ground my feet and to know that I am here and I have a right to be here on the planet. And I am here for a purpose and a reason that may not be clear to me at this particular time because the things that may be going on in your life may not make sense. But you have the eye of God, so you can get that inner clarity. Even though the outside may look foggy, what's inside is clear as a crystal bell. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's that ability to say, yep, there's a lot going on out there.
Yes.
And I pray for everyone and make the right choices for yourself and do what's best for you in a way that isn't going to cause harm to another in the best way that you can. And that's about a God eye. Judge not, lest you be judged. You know, if you see another one in need and you can help, please try to help, right?
Yeah.
Don't steal from your neighbor, don't covet, don't kill. You know, we know these are basic things. They don't need to be in a specific book for us. And remember, a lot of the book material that we're using now, again, recall, who put it all together?
Yeah.
Because there's other stuff that's written that hasn't been able to be seen, not because it's part of Dead Sea Scrolls that we didn't find, but because it's in the archives and nobody allowed it to come out until a certain time. So being cognizant that that kind of energy and ways that humans interrelated material that happened before is still happening now. So therefore we need the eye of God. You can see through the muck, right? And be grounded and centered in who we are and why we're here. Right? Yeah. And sing your song, right? Sing it loud and sing it strong. And, you know, get the ground, always ground, you know. It's very good to be grounded. And remember the mudra. And I'm over here because I have a husky underfoot, so I'm going to let Joan be on the camera entirely. So that's the mudra.
Yep. This is our mudra.
Okay.
Hands
there we go. I've got it for you.
Yeah.
And as you can see, that's my right hand.
Yeah.
So with my right hand, you know, if you have some rheumatoid or arthritic issues, it won't matter because you're doing your thumb and your pinky.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt.
No.
It doesn't hurt.
All right, well, I
So-
guess that's probably it. I don't know. Do you know of anything else you wanted to talk about today, Joan?
Actually, what I wanted to talk about was something that we got just yesterday, which were these lovely blue sandstone
Mm-hmm.
bracelets. And talking about the energies that you researched for me yesterday on these, that they're very good energy, helpful energy for.
Can you show the audience?
Of course.
That way they can see what you're saying.
Now these are blue tiger's eye. This is blue sandstone, and this came with a lovely little paw print dangle on it.
Right.
It was for pets.
Paw print.
But you can see how pretty this is, and that it's sparkling, reminding you of the night sky and of the power that you have. And blue tiger's eye is very good for protection.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wearing my combination today.
So crystals are energy. They're piezoelectricity. When you're working with the blue sandstone, that's actually dyed, minerally dyed crystals. So in the crystal, is the transmitter and transmuter.
Yeah.
So we use them for everything, and we certainly can use them in relationship to our bodies, because we're porous and the energy pours through.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because this was a new stone to me, and finding out the different properties that it has is always very interesting to learn.
Well, yeah, and I think, learning new material and keeping that elasticity of the brain open. So I think when we stretch our thoughts to places where we go from looking at something as crazy or ridiculous or alternatively out of place, to suddenly realizing, it's actually really kind of interesting and not out of place and really integrated, but has been somehow not part of your world, opens up that portal.
Yeah.
And, we want to do as much as we can as we age to not end up with some of the aging issues that come up, and the mind is one of the areas that is so untapped that when it starts to have issues, the field of medicine doesn't know what to do. I mean, when they used to say people were in coma, they didn't know you were in the room. And I would always say, and this is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
they
do know.
They know.
The mind is, just because it's not being articulated in a way that you can understand.
Yeah.
So there's so much untapped in that terrain of the brain.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I had a personal experience with that with my mom.
I mean, it's tough. So we want to take care of it and exercise the mind. And one of the ways that we can help to exercise the mind is through meditation and opening up the inner eye of God within all of us. It's untapped, and there are certainly things that can weaken it. And, when we're constantly putting thermometers, as I've said, up to that place, we don't really know what these technological gadgets can do. We'll figure that out down the road. In the meantime.
What's your temperature?
All right, I love you guys. And, take care of yourselves. If you're going through the winter months, as so many of us are right now, take care of yourself and stay warm and bundle up, put the extras on and do what you need to do. The throat chakra likes to be covered. So I guess that's about it.
I guess so. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Hope you learned some new things.